Okay, so except this refresh after every second, we also want to show something over the browser. Let's say if the browser can show you the current time of the browser, then after every second, you would be able to see the new time with every new second. It means you would be able to see the live clock over your browser, even though it would be the static code. Okay, because the browser is meant to refresh after every second. Okay, and the clock is working every second. Okay, so you would be able to see the updated time. Okay, so to get the current time, there is a Gregorian current calendar. If you click on this, you would be able to see that this is actually to use the current time. Okay, so you can use this and you can store that object into the calendar variable. Okay, so a calendar, you simply can get the hour, okay, the minutes and the second. And as a string, you can later on append it like this, hour, and then with this colon, you can add minute because you can construct it as a string, okay. Then second, and then AM and PM. AM and PM, there is a way to do it. You simply, you want to know this, that if it is AM or PM. Okay, so if in the calendar you call the AM and PM variable, you get the value. If it is 0, okay, if it is 0, if it is equal to 0, then it is the AM. Okay, you would set it to the AM. If it is not 0, okay, the calendar AM PM is not equal to 0. It means it is, okay, it is PM. Then this would happen automatically. You don't need to worry about that. And if we want to show something over the what to say, as a response, then we need to write something over the response buffer. To get the response buffer, simply call the get writer. We have already discussed it, and you can store it in print writer. You can call out println, okay, and then you can write something according to your need. Okay, we will focus on last these 39 to 44 later on, but let's focus as of now to this will print auto refresh page and then the current time. Okay, and current time would be hour, minute, second, and AM and PM. So if I execute it with this URL, okay, simply, so what I'll do, I'll simply save it, and simply let me run this project. Before that, let me take this as a URL because we have not mapped anything yet. So let me run this. So it was actually the index page. So let me do that. Okay. So as you can see, this the second portion is getting refreshing after every second. Okay. So you are able to see the live clock, but actually it's not a live clock. The browser is automatically refreshing after every second. So you are able to see it as a live clock, which is not. Okay, so our objective of this class is to build such kind of a servlet, but again we have not mapped. Actually, we are calling this manually. Okay, as you remember that I have added this mapping over here by myself, but it should happen automatically. Okay, so I need to map it in the web XML file. Okay, so web XML file, you would be able to find it web content library web XML. Okay, so this is the information of my previous servlet. This is the information of our current servlet. Okay, the current servlet is refresh servlet. So as you can see, okay, let me show you the web XML. So the this refresh servlet, the current path, the path of this class is refresh servlet, and inside this servlet there is a doGet method which would perform the default service for the servlet, and we will map it to the refresh. It means whenever this refresh will be appended in the URL, this servlet will be called, and this servlet is nothing but this class. And in this class there is a doGet method which would perform your business logic. Okay, the default method to perform your business logic. But what is this? We will discuss. There are two new things for us here. This is the init parameter, and there is another one. This is the context parameter. We will focus on that also, but let's focus now on this refresh. Okay, so if in the index page, okay, instead of this index, if I simply write refresh, okay, because I have mapped it to the refresh this servlet, refresh servlet to get method, I have mapped it to the refresh. So if I simply run it again, okay, then let me fill this form and it will forward me to the auto refresh page web app. Okay, the servlet will be executed and again you are able to see some kind of a live clock over your browser, but it is not. Okay, so when it comes to, just hold on a second, when it comes to index page is actually the previous example we have taken for our previous lecture. Okay, but in this web xml, this init parameter is doing what? The question is why we have used this init parameter if we have not used it. We have actually used it, but I'll show you. So as you can see, this init parameter is inside this servlet. We have closed it over here and it is inside this servlet. It means this init parameter address, uh, uh, the value of this address is set to the Clementown, Dehradun. So wherever you use this parameter, okay, inside any in this regarding this servlet, okay, inside this servlet, because you have created this inside the servlet, so it means it will give you this value. So I have used this address over here, as you can see in the refresh. So there is a get init parameter method in which you can pass any value. So we have set this address to the Clementown, Dehradun. So it is actually printing address as the Clementown. So as you can see, this is printing address is Clementown, Dehradun. Okay. So why it is printing? Because we have used the address variable of this servlet, and this the value of this address we have set to the Clementown, Dehradun. Okay. And what is the use of this context parameter? As you can see, it is not inside any servlet. Okay, this servlet is there and its mapping is there. So we have not added it over here. Okay, before closing the servlet, it means it is outside the servlet and it would be common to all the servlet of this project. So as you can see, we have two such a servlet over here, my first servlet service and the refresh servlet. So it would be common for all the servlets. So if we want to access this variable, then everywhere it would print you this my servlet project. So as you can see over here, to get this, you simply need to call first the get servlet context. Okay, because this time it is not actually a simple init parameter. Okay, this is definitely the parameter, a context parameter, but not init parameter. But first you need to access the context. Okay, the context of the servlet file, this web xml file, there would be only one context of the reference variable. So you want to access that. Okay, and then you are accessing this parameter, this init parameter. Heading of the project would be here. Okay, we have set this heading of the project is my servlet. So like this we have added over here. Okay, and in my servlet also I have added this over here. Okay, okay, so if I run this instead of let me go to this is actually set to the index. So let me save it and let me run it again. So it will behave as our first project. In our previous class we have created 1 2 3 4. So it is printing username and password, and it is also printing the heading. Why it is able to print the heading? Because this is actually, this variable is accessible by all the servlet, okay, in this project. But this parameter address, as you can see, the output is null. Why? Because this particular variable is actually a refresh servlet related only, because we have created it inside the uh, this inside this my refresh and the refresh servlet. So you wouldn't be able to access it outside of the servlet. So we were trying to access it outside this servlet in the my first servlet service inside that service class. So this is the use of init parameter and the context parameter. Context is one for all, and this is for each servlet. This is individual, this is common to all. Okay, so this is how you can build a auto refresh page project. So this is actually it is here. As you can see, this is auto refreshing after every second. You can set it to 5 seconds, 10 seconds, but I have set it to 1 second only. So you are able to see some kind of a live clock. So for, and this is actually, this heading you are supposed to set in your project as well. When you would be implementing this project in your lab as a lab assignment, you have to use the init parameter, the context parameter, you have to create this auto refresh web page, you have to add the information in this web XML. Okay, all the things I have done in this lecture, you have to do for your lab assignment as well. I will upload the lab assignment, but this would be same as what we have covered today. So I will not add the code. You have to create it by yourself because the code is not, you can find it over the internet as well. The term, let's say, these terms you would be able to find the calendar, how to create a current access the time. You can also, you would be able to find this statement as well, or you, if you want to add it by yourself, you can add. Okay, one thing that people are actually missing is people are not adding this this library. Okay, I have mentioned this servlet API. So in order to add that, simply click on add external, and people are missing that. Okay, so this servlet API, you have to add it in your project. I have already added, so I don't need to, as the students are getting a lot of missing errors. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture. Okay, so okay, we have already seen, right, what is the, let me show you again what was the objective of today's. Again, showing the same. Okay, so this was how to create an auto refresh web app using the HTTP servlet, and along with that we have also used init parameter and the context parameter. So this is all for today's lecture, and thank you so much. And please complete the related assignment. This would be the upcoming lab practical would be the assignment for this lecture as well. So do complete it and mark your attendance as well. So thank you so much guys for today's lecture.